Hi, my name is Pear from Uganda in the eastern part of Africa, or what they refer to as the Horn of Africa. This is Uganda, my home, and this is Ethiopia, my neighbor. And now it has been 2 weeks going. Many people have died in Ethiopia and many have been displaced to one extent that the UN now wants to set up humanitarian corridors to help the civilians. But what is the cause of this tension between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray government? Well, there are basically 3 visible causes for these tensions. Number 1 being the struggle for power. How? I'll give you a brief history. Ethiopia was under a military junta who had seized power or who had taken over power after overthrowing the Emperor Haile Selassie. That was in 1974. Many people suffered, many people died during that military regime. In fact, the Tigray people refer to that regime or to those years as years of darkness. And then the TPLF, in coalition with the EPRDF, fought a war against this military junta and defeated the military junta. And so the TPLF took over power in 1991. And therefore Ethiopia from the 1994 has been or had been under a federal government system. Now this TPLF, being a powerful party in Ethiopia, influenced this particular government system in Ethiopia. In fact, it was the leader of the 4-party coalition that governed Ethiopia during all those 27 years. And during this regime, things were fine. Remember, the TPLF's promise was that every Ethiopian gets a 3-meal course every day. So the famine situation and the hunger situations had totally dropped. The child mortality rate had totally dropped, but there was still no democracy. And so this issue or the concerns about the human rights and democracy kept on coming up over and again. There were talks, and before we knew, it led into a protest. And this is the protest that led to the reshuffle of the Ethiopian government, bringing in Mr. Abiy Ahmed as the Prime Minister. That was in 2018. That brings us straight to our number 2, being the political reforms. Now remember, the protests were asking for democracy, of which the protesters were blaming the Tigray politicians for being part of this problem of the lack of democracy. And so the government of PM Abiy and his followers believed that the Tigray politicians were corrupt. They closed the youth out of politics. They had taken over the politics and the economy for their own benefit. And so when PM Abiy came into power, there was a lot of changes. There was a lot of reforms. In fact, he dissolved the EPRDF coalition and formed a new party, which is the Prosperity Party. But this did not go well with the TPLF, and so they refused to form government with PM Abiy, and they also refused to join that new party of Prime Minister Abiy, that is a Prosperity Party. So there had been tensions over weeks and over months. Then taking us straight to our number 3, that is elections. Of course, these tensions had been going on for weeks and weeks, but then things became worse. That is in October, when the TLFP or the Tigray government decided to hold elections in their own elections in their own region against the central government. Remember, the central government had extended the national elections because of the COVID-19. But then the Tigray government went ahead and held their own elections, which the central government deemed illegal. So since then, both the governments have been seeing themselves as illegitimate. How? For the Tigray, the central government has never seen a national election ever since the PM Abiy had been elected into power. They are also saying that PM's correlation or friendship with the Eritrea president is unprincipled. And then for the PM Abiy's government, the Tigray elections were illegal. And also, the Prosperity Party did not get a chance to participate in those elections. And then when it comes to the issue of Eritrea, you remember it is PM Abiy that signed the peace agreement with the Eritrea government that ended the war between the Tigray and Eritrea. Anyway, going back to our elections. Now things got worse in October when the central government cut off funding and its ties with the Tigray. For the Tigray government, the central government had just declared war. And again, things became worse on 4th November when the fight started. PM Abiy says that the Tigray government attacked the military base to steal weapons, and therefore the federal government was given no option other than turn to the military option. So many people have died, many people have been displaced. In fact, we're also seeing the international forces ready, because US and China already have a military base nearby, as near as Djibouti. And then we had Putin of Russia approving a naval facility in Sudan, and then PM Abiy declaring a state of emergency in Tigray and a fully blown civil war. Well, in Africa we pray. So we pray that this thing comes quickly and it doesn't go beyond the borders of Ethiopia. Instead, totally calm down. Well, thank you for hanging around with me. I always love it when you hang around with me. For if it is your first time being here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And for all the returning subscribers, my fam, I love you and much love like always. Talk on print.